He wasn't in the spotlight. He didn't crave power. But in 1944, with the world watching the beaches of Normandy, one forgotten general stood in the shadows and fooled Adolf Hitler. His name was General George S. Patton, a man both feared and sidelined, reckless and brilliant, respected and punished by his own army. But what most people don't know is that Patton's greatest victory was a battle he never fought, because what he did in the months leading up to D-Day changed the course of World War II without firing a single shot. This is the untold story of Operation Fortitude, a psychological war, a deception campaign, and the general who made Hitler believe a lie so big it cost him everything. In early 1944, Nazi Germany controlled most of Europe. The Allies were planning something massive, a full-scale invasion of France to break Hitler's grip. But Hitler knew it was coming, and he knew the most logical landing point, Normandy. Yet the Allies needed more than force. They needed misdirection. And they needed a face that the Germans couldn't ignore. General George Patton. Brash, controversial, unpredictable. To many, Patton was a liability. He had slapped a soldier for cowardice and been suspended by Eisenhower. The media turned against him. His future was uncertain. But in war, sometimes the most dangerous men are the most useful. Instead of court-martialing him, Allied command gave him something else, a role in the greatest deception in military history. Patton was made commander of a completely fake army, the first U.S. Army Group, or FUSAG, thousands of inflatable tanks, cardboard aircraft, radio transmissions with no real troops, all staged in southeast England aimed directly at Pas-de-Calais, the spot Hitler was convinced would be the true invasion site. But deception alone wouldn't work. The Germans had spies, interceptors, logic. They needed a legend, a wild card, a face they feared, and Patton was that face. The Nazis knew Patton. They studied him. To them, he was the most dangerous general in the Allied arsenal. If Patton was in Calais, then surely the attack would be there. And that's exactly what they believed. For weeks, fake messages lit up the German intercepts. Bogus troop movements were spotted by Nazi reconnaissance. Patton made public appearances near Dover. He was even photographed inspecting the inflatable tanks. The Germans swallowed it whole. Even after the real invasion landed at Normandy on June 6, 1944, Hitler didn't move his panzer divisions. Why? Because he thought Normandy was a diversion. He believed Patton was about to lead the real invasion through Calais. For 7 critical weeks, German reinforcements remained frozen waiting for an attack that never came. By the time Hitler realized the truth, it was too late. The Allies had secured the beaches. France was falling, and the war had begun to turn. Not because of bombs, but because of a lie. Behind the curtain, the British played their own part masterfully. Mi-5 ran a network of double agents who fed the Nazis carefully crafted misinformation. Operation Bodyguard, the umbrella for the D-Day deception, was built like a layered illusion? Fake radio traffic, dummy ships in harbors, even controlled leaks in neutral countries. But it was Patton's name that gave it credibility. One captured German general later admitted, "We believed Patton would lead the invasion. We believed it until the end." Hitler's trust in his own instincts and his fear of Patton made him blind. For weeks, he ignored the pleas of his frontline commanders. Normandy was a trap. He insisted the real strike was yet to come. He moved no troops, sent no tanks, and watched the beaches fall. Patton, meanwhile, remained silent. Not a bullet fired. Not a single command shouted across battlefields. Yet his presence loomed so large in the enemy's mind it became a weapon. When he finally returned to active duty, Patton commanded the Third Army. In a matter of weeks, he smashed through France with terrifying speed. Towns were liberated, Nazi strongholds collapsed, But ask any strategist and they will say Patton's greatest victory was not on a map, it was inside Hitler's mind. He turned the German war machine inward, made it doubt itself, paralyzed it with fear, and all without touching the battlefield. And yet, decades later, few know the full truth. Few remember that the man branded a hothead and nearly thrown aside became the keystone of D-Day's success. They remember his tanks, his rants, his medals, but they forget the role he played in shadows, in lies, in patience. History often celebrates the loudest victories, the bloodiest battles, the iconic speeches. But sometimes the war is won in silence, in shadows, in the mind of a man willing to let the enemy see only what he wants them to see. General Patton didn't just lead armies. He led Hitler himself into believing a lie, and that changed the world. If stories like this fascinate you, real lives, hidden turns, and the quiet brilliance behind history's loudest moments, subscribe to Revealed Bio, where we bring forgotten heroes back into the light. Because sometimes the most powerful battles are the ones nobody saw coming.